Powerful stories, powerful sound. This is B360 Productions, where your voice takes center stage.
Before this journey begins, listeners are invited to experience more than just the audio story. At blindendeavors.org, a dedicated blog post follows this expedition in real time, along with ongoing updates inside the Endeavor Journal. The Endeavor Journal is the central hub for this climb, featuring media, reflections, behind-the-scenes insights, and extended storytelling connected to the expedition. There, visitors will find photos, written entries, and additional content that goes beyond what is heard in these episodes. Endeavor to Connect is also available on all major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify. To fully experience this story and follow the climb as it unfolds, visit blindendeavors.org and explore the Endeavor Journal. And now, the story begins.
You're listening to Endeavor to Connect, a podcast from the Blind Endeavors Foundation. This is episode 1 of a 3-part series. Kilimanjaro, Before the Climb.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Endeavor to Connect. I'm your host, Steve Baskus. Whether you've been following this show for a while or you're listening for the first time, I'm glad you're here. Because what we're about to share feels bigger than just a podcast episode. This one feels personal. And honestly, I'm a little nervous to even start telling it. Not because I don't believe in the story, but because I know how much it means. This is a 3-part story about 3 blind veterans climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, the tallest mountain on the African continent. And I want you to really sit with that for a moment. 3 blind men climbing one of the most iconic mountains in the world. Not as a stunt, not as a headline, but as a real expedition, with real planning, real risk, real doubt, and real struggle. This series is my attempt to document what it takes, what it feels like, and what it means to climb a mountain blind. The 3 climbers are myself, Steve Baskus, Lonnie Bedwell, and Aaron Hale. All 3 of us have served in the United States military. I lost my eyes in combat when a roadside bomb detonated during operations overseas. Lonnie Bedwell served in the U.S. Navy and later lost his vision in a hunting accident. Aaron Hale served in the U.S. Army as part of an explosive ordnance disposal team and lost his vision while disarming an explosive device. But this isn't a story about tragedy. It's not about what we've lost. It's about what we built afterwards. Each of us had to rebuild our lives. We had to learn how to move through the world again, how to trust ourselves again, how to find independence again. And in doing that, we created something. A story that is still being written. A story of resilience, strength, and courage. A story about pushing the human mind and body beyond what most people think is possible. And I'm not saying that like a motivational poster. I'm saying it because it's real. I'll be honest. I'm still learning how to document this expedition. I don't have all the answers. I don't know how exactly the story will come together. But I want to capture the nuance, the details, the emotions you don't see in a photo. The quiet moments when the mountain is still ahead of you. I want to tell you what it's like to prepare for a climb like this, and what it feels like to stand on a trail with trekking poles in your hands, trusting your team, trusting your instincts, and stepping forward without sight. Mount Kilimanjaro sits in Tanzania, in East Africa. It rises from the plains as the tallest freestanding mountain on Earth. It stretches through multiple climate zones. You begin in heat and in humidity, walking through rainforest. Then you move into open moorland, then into alpine desert, and eventually you reach ice and thin air near the summit. It's like walking through different worlds stacked on top of each other. We'll be climbing the Marengo route. Some people call it the Coca-Cola route. It's known for having huts instead of tents and for being one of the most direct paths to the summit. But there's nothing easy about this mountain. Kilimanjaro doesn't care what you call it. It doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care what you've accomplished before. The mountain has one job: to test you. And as I sit here recording this, I can feel the weight of what we're about to do. Soon, this won't just be a story I'm narrating. It will be a story I'm living. So I want you to meet the men who will be climbing beside me. First, Lonnie Bedwell. Lonnie is one of the toughest human beings I've ever met. He's a Navy veteran, an adventurer, and a father. He has this calm way of speaking, even when he's describing something that most people would consider impossible. Lonnie doesn't see blindness as a limitation. He sees it as a challenge, and he meets that challenge head on. Here's my conversation with Lonnie Bedwell. Yeah, so Lonnie, I appreciate it, man, like always. I just, you training or something?
No, I'm outside. I did some of that this morning, and after I did that, I did about an hour on the Peloton bike, and then about an hour of ab stuff, and then I went outside and started tearing down on my little red barn that I'm getting rid of.
No, man, it's I'm excited about this, and thanks for sharing a little bit about your morning. It's the 4th of February right now, right? It's I think about 10 a.m. your time there in southwestern Indiana. Um, yeah, I'm recording this. As you know, I really think it's cool, Lonnie, that I'm gonna be climbing again on Kili, just like you. You climbed Kilimanjaro so many years ago, among all of the 7 summits, really. And so both of us are returning, and I really wanted to be part of this, but I didn't think it was going to happen, and you've really helped me or encouraged me to come along. So I'm thankful for that. I'm excited to document it and take the things I've learned from being blind over the last 17 plus years, and put it towards my foundation, and to tell our story. I'm getting better and better at doing this kind of stuff. I hope, and we can only hope, right? And
Oh
so,
yeah.
it's kind of cool to not only be a climber and be blind, and a veteran, and be part of this trio. Aaron Hale, yourself, Lonnie Bedwell, and I'm going to have you introduce yourself here in a moment. But just and myself, all of us going to climb this mountain. Um, so before I ask you some questions, Lonnie, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. Yeah, yeah. I'm finer than frog hair split 3 ways and home to a glossy sheen.
It's always Lonnie's saying. All right, we'll get started then. Lonnie, for people who may have, hearing your name for the first time, how do you usually describe yourself, and what drives you into these extreme environments?
I would say I'm a blind adventure athlete, veteran motivational speaker, and I do some extreme sports, if you will, to try to help encourage others to believe in themselves, their value, and what they can do. Uh, that's kind of it in a real short nutshell.
No, it's great. It's great. I want you to be short, so no worries at all. You've climbed the 7 summits and stood at the South Pole. With all of that behind you, what still pulls you towards mountains and expedition and exploration like this?
Well, I hope to complete the Explorers Grand Slam, which means I have to also trek to the North Pole to complete that. But this trip that we have coming up, climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, it's a full circle for me of climbing and expeditions because, as you well know, we met back in 2011, 12, 13, in there somewhere. And you'd already climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. And then, the Adaptive Sports Center out of Crested Butte asked me and you both, kind of on the side, to see if they could get us to the top of a 14,000 foot peak. They wanted to start a program. So we went and did Humboldt, I believe it was. And I lost both my big toenails on that trip. But then they developed that program. And for this trip, kind of full circle, the aspect there is after that program was developed, our good buddy Aaron Hell, like you said earlier, joined us on the first trip or first program out there. And then him and I decided to go climb Mount Kilimanjaro together in 2015. You'd already done it. And just prior to going over there, he developed spinal meningitis, which left him not only totally blind, but totally deaf. So he couldn't go. And I went and did that. And another part of that circle is the three of us, with your foundation, Blind Endeavors, was going to create a kind of a sports team called BEAST, Blind Endeavors Adventure Sports Team, I believe is the name of it. Was that correct?
Yeah, it's either adventure or adaptive.
Yeah, sports team. And so we were going to do it together. And, that Aaron, having to learn how to be totally blind and totally deaf, and then eventually having the cochlear implants, which still, he's only has 40% hearing in his left ear, but he cannot directionally tell stuff. And it took him a while to kind of get going on things again. So anyway, this is full circle, both with him and I, and then with the three of us, going together. I mean, I have the utmost respect, immense respect for you and for him. And, it's to be able to go, the three of us, to honestly join up again and do something is just so surreal and humbling for me. And it's just a privilege and an honor. And so I'm so looking forward to doing it. Anyway, I know that's a long answer, but that's kind of it. So
It's great.
yeah.
I understand and completely agree. After losing your sight, did you ever imagine your life would include global expeditions like this?
Absolutely not. No way.
It's
No, I didn't. It just kind of happened. I didn't do any of this adaptive sports, adventure sports. I mean, I didn't snow ski, rock climb, mountaineer, kayak, none of it. Cycle. I didn't do any of it prior to losing my eyesight, and it just kind of became, to me, I like to tell people, in all honesty, it became a duty assignment, a mission for me to hopefully encourage other disabled veterans and just people in general. Once again, that, hey, there's light in this darkness, and we can get out here and do things. And then I love your motto, moving is living. And that's what we encourage them to do, is just get out here and live a life, not exist one.
I agree, man. People often assume blindness and mountaineering don't belong in the same sentence. What do they misunderstand most, do you think, Lonnie?
The ability of us and what we can do. What they misunderstand is they think we can't do anything. We need to be kept in this bubble. We need to be kept safe, and if you will. So yeah, I think that's just what it is. They look at it as a spectacular thing, which on one hand, I have to say, when I had my eyesight, I wouldn't have believed the blind guy could do what we've done. But yet now that we're doing it, there's, in some ways, some of this really not that far out there. It's just so doable. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of adaptation goes into some of this stuff.
It makes perfect sense. I understand, Lonnie, of course, being blind. And I agree with your statement about like, I think I couldn't fathom or really understand how a blind person could accomplish something like this. But it, all the little nuance and the intricacies that we've learned along the way, and the techniques and systems, and it just makes sense that something like this actually is really doable and really a great thing to pursue if you have people you trust. And I think that's my next question is like, on a climb like Kilimanjaro, how do you define trust between climbers, guides, and volunteers?
How do I define it?
Or what does it mean to you, like trust?
Well,
And trust,
I think I'm going to throw a little bit more in there to being a team too. I like acronyms. Team, TEAM is trusting. Everyone's an absolute must. So, in order for us to do things, we have to commit and trust, and they have to commit and trust us. I think, in all honesty, for us to get out here and do a lot of this stuff, we want people that are experienced and knowledgeable in what we're doing and where we're going. And then we can kind of learn the stuff together. But I think, how they said you got to earn my trust. Well, I think in our case, we have to inherently just submit and say, okay, here I am. Now, we're going to be as cautious as we can be, but you got to lose my trust. And you can do that pretty quickly sometimes. I mean, we've had guides that's just like, oh, okay, not a chance, because they won't listen. They just absolutely know how to do it, and it's their way or the highway, and that doesn't always work. So,
I hear you. For someone who is blind or newly blind and listening to this, what does it take mentally to say yes to something like this?
well, mentally, it's just the aspect of getting to saying yes. To your point, it's just, okay, so I'm blind. I lost my eyesight. For those who had eyesight, if you will, and lost it, we know how to do things. We just have to figure out a different way of doing them. So, and some of this stuff, reach out to people that know or have done it before and work together and glean their knowledge first and foremost, if you can. But inherently, it just takes that believing in yourself, and you can. If you want other people to believe in you, you have to first believe in yourself, and you should, because we lost our eyesight, we didn't lose our knowledge, and we didn't lose our, in most cases, our other abilities to do things. So it just starts right there. Just say yes. If you're given an opportunity, say yes, and start with baby steps. Starting in the comfort zone, just walking down the road, hiking on a trail, just keep, build it slowly, and you can do it. So
I agree, man. Maybe the last question, as Aaron Hale is attempting a coast to summit journey, traveling from sea level all the way to the peak. What does that add to the spirit of this expedition?
he's nuts. You know,
He
he's
is nuts.
absolutely insane. But it's like a 180-mile run, and I think they asked both of us who we wanted to be part. I'm like, not a chance, no way. The climbing the mountain is going to be enough. But he's become an endurance athlete doing those kind of runs. So, I can see them doing that. Now, just to be quite honest, and I'm glad to see him doing this because he's up in the bar. He's just absolutely up in the bar. Not only blind deaf, he'll be the first blind deaf person to climb it, but he's upping the bar on us by, you know, doing that run from the coast to the base of the mountain in the climb. But I hope that, you know, if his feet start to get a little tender, whatever, that they'll just jump the rest of the run and focus on the climb. So because we know he can run. Now it's just getting him to the top. Do I think he can do it all? Absolutely, I do. If you know, if his body holds up, and I think it can. But he's as you guys are both so mentally strong and physically strong and tough. But the mental aspect is where you guys really excel, of just pushing through and continuing on, as you well know. When we do, go ahead.
No, it's the same for you, Lonnie. I feel the same about you, man.
Yeah, but as you well know, you know, when we do these hikes, we can't rest our minds to just take a step, you know, just walk, walk, walk. We got to focus on every step, and it's not only physically exhausting, it's mentally exhausting as well. So,
Oh, it's a big thing, man. And you know, what Aaron's doing ahead of the climb, which you know, there's a lot of other super athletes out there that are not disabled that pursue this kind of you know, path to the top of the roof of some continent. Is not you know, be said lightly. You know, so it's if you know, you ask a sighted person to close their eyes at the bottom of a mountain that they're looking up at, and imagine, you know, making their entire journey up that mountain, you know, with no sight at all to the top. There's a lot of things that probably come to mind. I mean, I can think of what I would think about, but you're right, and I think Aaron Hill is definitely has it within him to accomplish this. It's just like anybody, you know. It's training. It's how your body adapts, and I know this is his first time really climbing a big mountain. Just last year, we were in the Colorado Rockies, and he seemed strong and he seemed capable. It'll be interesting to see how the climb uh, turns out. But
that's
time,
another aspect of the thing that I think that is concerning to me too, is sometimes world-class athletes have a harder time at elevation than non-world-class athletes because their body's already pushing this limit all the time. So it can't adjust to absorb oxygen at altitude, and they sometimes struggle a little bit more. That's been a proven thing, you know, at times, you know, and so, you know, that's a concern for all of us. And I wonder about that too, you know, after pushing his body so long on that run, his first climb, will we all be able to acclimate? Because you never know. You can climb a mountain 1,000 times, and the next time you climb it, your body won't acclimate. So
yeah, I mean, it's how hydrated you are, how well you're eating. I think, like you're talking about, definitely um, how somebody who's a super athlete can fail on these mountaineering expeditions. Mountaineering is a totally kind of different thing, and I think people fail to understand the. I mean, just the heat and cold and not sleeping well. A lot of events like Ironman and running events, they're super calculated. Everything they do, from eating breakfast to the rest that you know. I think on a mountain you definitely calculated, but there's just a lot of variables that are different. But it's going to be an amazing thing. Just getting together and spending time on the mountain and having this opportunity to show people what it's like to travel blind, what it's like to prepare for a journey like this. I'm capturing things here in my home, and will be like walking people through all the different things I do. and matching that up with you guys once we get together on the ground. So I just appreciate you coming on for this call, Lonnie. And
Oh man, I appreciate you as always, dude, and thank you for having me on. And yeah, one other little aspect of this that I really am looking forward to is the fact that, in my opinion, one person going out here and doing something is kind of sometimes considered an anomaly, but two or three like we have now, that's a statement. That's a statement, and that's part of what Beast was going to be, was to make a statement. And it's so cool to be a part of this again. And like I said, hopefully we'll all be safe, healthy, successful, and can make this statement of what's possible.
to what
Moving is living, baby.
moving is living. To what? Yeah. No, it's so true. It is. It will. It's very significant. And I love that we're doing it as a team.
Yeah.
But Lonnie, man, I won't keep you. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll talk with you again here soon, man.
Thanks, brother. You take care. You too. See you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Lonnie is the kind of person who makes you believe something is possible because he's already lived it. Next, I want you to meet Aaron Hale. Aaron is a U.S. Army veteran who served in explosive ordnance disposal, one of the most dangerous jobs in the military. When Aaron lost his vision, he adapted, he rebuilt, he kept moving forward. There's a quiet strength about him, and you'll hear it. Here's my conversation with Aaron Hale.
Well, yeah. Okay. So the plan is to run from the shoreline at Mombasa in Kenya. It's about 204 miles from Kilimanjaro, I guess, to the gate, the national park, or I'm not exactly sure what the finish line is. Just telling people I wanted to get a running start up the mountain, so I'm starting from the coast of Africa.
Yeah, it's sounds like a epic journey. And have you ever been to Africa?
I'm trying to think. I was in Tunis briefly when I was in the Navy station in Italy, but I think that's about it.
So, Aaron, when you and I and Lonnie were together, I think it was last summer in here in the Colorado.
Sam's Club. 14 minutes ago. Sam's Club. Coffee looking at pure protein bars, gluten-free, chocolate variety pack. Stop. Gray circle with the white square in the center. Oh.
No, that's great. It's fine. Here when we were here in Colorado just last year, was this the plan? Had you already had this idea in your mind?
I'm trying to think when it was October 2024 when I attempted to mountain climb, go hiking in the mountains for the first time in quite a long time since I'd lost my eyesight in 2011, but I'd lost my hearing completely in 2015. And with that, I lost my sense of balance, the vestibular balance. So it was between 2000, actually right about 2012, 2013, when I was on the third iteration of Soldiers to Summits. I started climbing mountains, and I was really getting into it. And then by 2015, I was ready to head out to Kilimanjaro, but the meningitis canceled my plans. So without any hearing except for that one cochlear implant, and just a slight breeze ruins. It's like sonar jamming, and my bad balance on top of the blindness. I didn't think it was at all safe to go into the mountains, especially for not just for me, but anybody on the team, because they're responsible for me as much as I am for them, and being on a road team or anything like that. I couldn't do it. So it wasn't until, about a year and a half ago, tried it again, went out to Crested Butte, not far from where you are, and went with Lonnie and a few others, and did fairly well. Strong, physically fit. It's just the balance was just made everything a whole lot more work. But I can do work. So it was a really tough climb. But one of my new friends, Lonnie's guide, Brian Hill, was a guy, joined Lonnie to the South Pole, Carson's Pyramid, and a few other adventures. And he and I got to talking and said, if you can do this, you could do Kilimanjaro. And since I was 2 weeks away from flying to Kilimanjaro when the meningitis struck 10 years ago, I thought, hey, what the heck? We'll give it a try. So, and of course, Brian is also a runner, and we got to talking about doing something. I think he wanted to do something epic for his 40th birthday, which is coming up. So, I can get talked into just about anything. And he's like, why don't we do a coast to Kilimanjaro, Coast to Kili thing, and we'll run from the shore, run from the coast of Africa to Kilimanjaro. I'm like, yeah, why not? That sounds like an awesome idea. So that's how I got started.
No, I get it. I wanted to understand how it all unfolded, and I appreciate you explaining that. I'm 42. I just turned 40 in December, so this is a big 40-year-old kind of expedition, I guess, for me.
I can pretend I'm 40.
Aren't you 23 or something?
Well, what is it? I'm 47 with a body of a 57-year-old and a mind of a 15-year-old.
You're crazy, Aaron. I only have one other question, man, because I know you're busy. What is the deeper, reason for pursuing these kinds of intense athletic pursuits, endeavors, whatever you want to call it? What are you trying to prove or honor or accomplish?
The reasons are plentiful. There's many of them. But for one, I gotta keep proving to myself that I'm so capable. Right? Every day is full of small wins, but you do need some big wins here and there. Also, I've got 3 boys, 15 and identical twin 6-year-olds, and I'm their dad. It's my responsibility to show them that they can overcome anything with the right mindset, the right attitude, and enough preparation. So I gotta be their example. And of course, like I said, this is kind of a redemption thing for me. Something that was denied from me 11 years ago now. So I want it. I'm gonna go after it.
Well, I think you've already proved you can overcome a lot of things, but I understand the spirit and the drive to continue to do things. And like you said, you have kids, and you're trying to be a father and show them what is possible. Aaron, I don't have any other questions, man. But man, I'm gonna let you go so you can get things done. I appreciate it, Aaron.
Thanks, brother.
Take care, man. That's the team. 3 blind veterans heading toward one of the most iconic summits on the planet. As this series continues, my hope is to bring you deeper into the journey. Not just the big moments, but the human ones. I want to speak with the people who help us along the way. The airport staff, the guides, the representatives leading us. the porters and workers on the mountain, the local people who make this climb possible. I don't know how many conversations I'll be able to capture. I don't know who will want to share their thoughts, their doubt, their excitement, or their anxiety. But I'm going to try. Because this story belongs to more than just the three of us. And for me, this project is deeply personal. Because I'm not just one of the climbers. I'm the storyteller. Everything I've learned from blind rehabilitation, everything I've learned from living blind for 17 years, every skill I've rebuilt, all of it comes together here. I'm creating the sound design, the music, the narration, the recording, the editing, the mixing, and the publishing. This isn't just a climb. It's a story being built from the ground up, and I'm building it blind. This series is about what's possible. It's about rebuilding after loss. It's about climbing the ups and downs of life one step at a time. And the next time you hear my voice, we won't be preparing anymore. We'll be on the mountain. This is Kilimanjaro, and the climb begins now.
You've just listened to episode 1 of Endeavor to Connect's 3-part Kilimanjaro series. The journey is only beginning. To continue following this expedition, visit blindendevors.org, where ongoing updates, journal entries, media, and behind-the-scenes reflections are published in the Endeavor Journal. A direct link to the Kilimanjaro blog post within the Endeavor Journal is available in this episode's show description, along with a link to blindendevors.org. There, you can explore the full scope of this climb, the preparation, the people, and the moments that shape the ascent. You can also subscribe to Endeavor to Connect on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other major platforms to ensure you don't miss the next chapter. This is more than a summit attempt. It's a story of resilience, adaptation, and possibility. Continue the journey at blindendevors.org. The climb continues.